Trying to have a good experience with an anime can be pretty difficult. For a multitude of reasons, trying to enjoy anime can feel like a real fight. Reason 1. Consistency. This can be because of writing / story in general, or production reasons. Watching anime, you grow attached to characters, and if it's good enough, you begin to feel like you understand characters and what the author / anime is trying to achieve and convey. But sometimes in anime, characters will act out of character, and this can completely destroy the show for you. You lose confidence in the writing of the show and start to question what you had seen before. What you had resonated with, was that really what was intended by the writer? For me, an anime where this really bothered me was Gintama. Throughout the whole series, its main strong point was balancing humour and serious moments. I felt like Gintama understood that you can have emotional impacts without taking everything seriously. It knew exactly how to balance them. It was never switching from serious to funny, it was just characters acting consistently as themselves. In some anime, characters' actions and personalities are bent around the plot, and sometimes act out of character to push the plot forward. But Gintama always managed to never compromise that. The characters always felt extremely real and consistent. Each serious arc crescendoed in the most satisfying way, but then, towards the end of the series, something changed. Gintoki used to be a character who said cool things in fights, didn't let his pain get to him, and always just be this beacon of strength, who even in tough times was able to laugh with his friends. He was never the wise or silent type. He'd shout when he was angry or push past his issues. The last few arcs of Gintama really disappointed me. The lovable character I once thought I knew and understood and felt I had a connection with was acting out of character. Gintoki had become stoic and lame. No longer did he say anything cool or try to uplift his friends. Sakata Gintoki was dead. Now, some may argue that this is because of how much the stakes had increased, but to me, that's complete bullshit. There is no need to neuter literally every character and make them a shell of their former self. To add to this, the actual plot really just comes out of nowhere, and I feel like it doesn't represent the themes of Gintama at all. Now, I may be dumb or wrong about this example in particular, but it's this feeling of betrayal you get from inconsistently written characters and story that can really ruin an anime. This inconsistency can happen for a few reasons. One is that the author is just bad at writing. Another is that the author just got tired of the series and wanted to end it, and I feel like that's what happened with Gintama. Another reason could be to artificially create conflict to drag out a popular series. Or it's just baked into the series itself with stuff like rom-coms where the whole point is that it takes ages for characters to get with each other. One more reason could be that an anime adapting a manga decided to create an anime-only ending. Like Fullmetal Alchemist 2003, this isn't the worst example, but it's undeniable that it feels off from the rest of the series, because it's not written by the same people. All of these things can really affect someone's investment and trust in an anime. It may sound like a dumb thing to say, but trust is a really important thing for an anime to create with a viewer. For example, the One Piece anime completely shattered my trust, with the ridiculously poor excuse for an adaptation, dragging out literally everything and ruining dialogue by having strange pauses and just ruining the flow of everything for the sake of dragging it out. For those reasons, it's just impossible for me to watch One Piece and feel completely invested, because I won't trust that this story I'm getting into won't be ruined next episode. It's hard to truly let yourself care about something if you know it's gonna be ruined. Now the second type of consistency. Production consistency. This can be anything from a change in voice actor, art style, etc. This may be kind of a dumb concept, but watching anime, I think you kind of build a momentum. And to keep that momentum, the show needs to be consistent. If anything changes, I think it can affect this momentum and potentially leave you not caring about it anymore. Even something as simple as a voice change, that can feel like a completely new character. Or if the art style changes, it can feel like a completely different anime, even if it's minimal. An extreme example would be One Punch Man Season 2. It felt like a different show because of how differently the two shows' visual languages were. Visual storytelling is a big part of anime, and Season 1 just had way better body language and framing, and everything that makes scenes flow well and helps you understand characters. So when this changes, it can stop the momentum you built watching Season 1, because you're no longer building on the enjoyment and investment from before. That momentum has been halted by these jarring changes. And it takes time to adjust. Either you get over it or the anime is ruined. Some anime manage to avoid this, like AOT's change from Studio Wit to Mappa, but others, like One Punch Man, completely die and are unable to rebuild that momentum. Moving on from consistency, let's talk more about momentum. This isn't related to the actual anime itself, but if you watch one episode and get really into it but have to stop or don't watch something for a while, it's hard to get back into. You lose the momentum and investment you had in characters and stuff. It's basically like starting a new series from halfway in, but it's also a pain in the arse to rewatch what you've already seen. It's a weird in-between where you know too much to rewatch it, but you've lost the emotions that were there, so the anime is sort of ruined. Keeping with things that aren't the anime's fault, another thing that can ruin an anime is tiredness. Watching an anime when you're tired can make it harder to pay attention, and you may lose some info and not be able to understand the plot properly. Being tired for even one episode can ruin the entire series. Not fully getting what's going on is pretty bad, and even if you go back and rewatch the episode, you don't have the same shock or momentum that would propel your investment and enjoyment in the anime. For this same reason, illness can also ruin an anime. You lose so much, even missing a few seconds. Movies and anime use every moment to build the right tone and convey very specific things. And even small things like establishing shots or framing on conversations are all used to subconsciously make you feel a certain way. Unless the anime is bad, then it doesn't matter. Anxiety or just general bad life experiences have ruined some anime for me. I try to avoid watching anime when I feel really anxious or am going through something, just because I'll be unable to detach the anime from those feelings. I think most people would use anime as an escape from that sort of stuff, but for me, I don't think it really helps. I end up still feeling awful when watching it and I just can't enjoy it. That series is then a reminder of those feelings and it's almost impossible for me to enjoy it again. Expectation is something that has ruined a few anime for me. If you interact with the anime community in any capacity, you're bound to have encountered this practice of hyping things up. And sometimes it's justified and sometimes it's not. Going into Demon Slayer, I expected so much because of how much praise it was getting, and I hated it. I don't think it's the hype that ruined it for me though, because Demon Slayer is just shit. One Piece is a series that I really love, but expectation ruined Enies Lobby for me. I went into One Piece expecting nothing. I really thought it was going to be boring. But I absolutely fell in love with Syrup Village, Baratie, and Arlong Park. These arcs were amazing and massively changed how I saw One Piece. The level of writing and character depth made me have huge faith in One Piece, and I trusted that it would have amazing writing. My expectations of One Piece were getting too high, then combined with massive overhyping from the One Piece community. Going into Enies Lobby and Water 7, I was expecting something way better than it actually was. Don't get me wrong, Enies Lobby and Water 7 are amazing, but my expectations kind of ruined it for me. I know that if I went into a series expecting nothing, I'm more likely to enjoy it, and I think that's what happened with the first few arcs of One Piece for me. Watching with no expectation lets you get fully immersed in the world and be surprised when something good happens. If you watch something not knowing it's going to be good, I think you enjoy it more than if you did know. Finding out for yourself that something is good is just such an amazing experience. Another way anime can be ruined is how it's handled in the West. Translation can completely change how you see an anime. Depending on even just the words used, it can change how you see a character, even if those words mean the same thing. It takes a lot of time, knowledge, and creativity to create accurate translations that carry the same intentions as the original. And unfortunately, anime doesn't always get this. Examples of bad translation come from Funimation.
Well, maybe think about how these girls feel for once. Maybe they don't want to be debased just so you can sell a few more chicken wings to horny losers with mommy issues.
A more obscure way that an anime might be ruined is when you get too into anime, and it's more about padding out your mal to look like a better anime fan. I'm guilty of this, unfortunately. A few years ago, I was very into the game of watching anime, and I would try and finish anime fast purely for my mal. And obviously that ruined the anime for me. Forcing yourself to watch something completely ruins it. The last thing I'd like to mention in this video is that anime just don't end. There are countless anime that don't have endings. As someone who truly gets invested in anime and really cares about what happens, it's devastating that only a very small minority of anime reach their conclusion. And I think this is what ruins anime. Despite anime with flaws being ruined, by pacing and other issues, having an ending can make a series feel truly special to you. Because most anime don't end, so the ones that do really leave a special impact. Seeing a story through to the end, even if it's a bad one, is almost always a better experience than leaving a good story unfinished. And that's what I think ruins anime.